Here are the craziest symptoms of menopause that I have learned about so far as a husband figuring this out just like you. And I would say I'm going to probably just go head to toe. So, number one, let's just start with tinnitus. Tinnitus, and it's not tinnitus, by the way. Tinnitus. Tinnitus. Google it. Hit the pronunciation thing. Tinnitus. Get a bunch of crap on that. Tinnitus is a ringing sound in a woman's ear. How does it get there? Well, she's losing estrogen. And estrogen is a hormone that affects literally every area of her body physically and mentally. And it has to do with the amount of moisture in her skin. And it has to do with affecting neurotransmitters that are in her ear canal because of the lack of moisture that is in there. And it ends up creating a ringing, buzzing type of sound. I haven't heard it, by the way. This is what I'm told. And some women have even described this as a screaming sound. She has no idea when it's going to happen. She has no idea how long it's going to last. Could happen in the day. It could happen at night. It often would happen at night, from what I'm told, because she's losing estrogen, and estrogen levels actually fluctuate mostly at night. And in those fluctuations, these are the types of things that start to happen. You're laying in bed and you have a ringing, buzzing, or even screaming sound in your ear. Can you wrap your head around that for a second? By the way, we're only going to just scratch the surface on the amount of actual symptoms that women deal with here in menopause, but let's keep it weird. Tinnitus. Nocturia. Nocturia is basically getting up multiple times a night. I have no idea why it's called nocturia. Probably because nocturnal. Basically, she's getting up multiple times a night to go to the bathroom. You've probably noticed. This is also because when she loses estrogen, she loses a hormone that strengthens her bladder walls. Now, she's waking up in the middle of the night for a whole host of reasons, if she's even fallen asleep. But when she wakes up, what ends up happening is she feels like she has to go to the bathroom, and she can't stop it because she doesn't have that strength. So she gets up and goes, and probably just goes a little. It's not like she's full stream 5 times a night, but it's the sensation, right? That's the point. It's the sensation. It's the need to get up and go to the bathroom. Nocturia. That's happening. Again, out of her control because this is a hormonal change and she's losing this estrogen. Burning mouth syndrome. Burning mouth syndrome is because when she loses estrogen, she's losing something or a hormone that affects her saliva production. So she gets dry mouth. It also happens to affect neuropathy, where it affects the nerves in that area. So then when nerves are affected, like I've got sciatica, right? Do you have sciatica? Have you ever had? Sciatica is a burning, tingling, scratchy, terrible feeling that typically happens from sitting down too much. You feel it in the back of your legs. But women will feel it in their mouth. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine feeling a burning sensation, like a scalding sensation in your mouth because you're a woman? I mean, if you think about it, what did she do to deserve this? She just was a woman. And then this natural phase of womanhood starts to happen to her that just, not to digress here for a second, but she wasn't prepared for this. She wasn't told about this. Her mom didn't talk to her about this. And by the way, here's the fun part. Doctors were not trained to support her on this. And I'm gonna go off on a tangent from the weird stuff. So point is, she's not getting the help she needs. And she's dealing with weird shit. All right. Itchy ear canals. We talked about the ringing and the tinnitus, but itchy ear canals. Simply losing moisture. Yes, because estrogen actually happens to affect the amount of moisture in her skin, so her skin gets dry. But it gets dry on the inside here, and it makes her sensitive skin inside her ears feel itchy. Estrogen happens, have you gotten the point here? Estrogen's kind of a big deal. Estrogen also happens to have to do with By the way, did we talk about why she's losing all this estrogen? I digress. I'll make it quick. 1 to 2 million eggs when she's born, doesn't make any more, has a boatload of estrogen supporting those eggs, loses eggs all the way to menopause in her mid-40s, average age is 51. By the time she gets to menopause, she's lost 99% of the amount of estrogen she had in her body when she was 25. So all this estrogen talk I'm talking about happens to do with where she began to where, it ends with menopause and the loss along the way, and then the effect on her body as that's happening. Okay, itchy ear canals. So she's losing this moisture. Estrogen also happens to affect or influence vascular health. So blood flow. So now she's not getting as much blood flow to her inner ears, which is causing them to also itch or be uncomfortable. Itchy ears, happening at night, happening during the day. Women are actually looking for bobby pins. You know bobby pins? They've got those like gelled tips on the ends. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you could use a Q-tip. I'm not a woman. I haven't had this. But it kind of stands to reason that a bobby pin, small, but it's got that gelled tip to make sure you don't really cause some damage. Get in there and just work that out a little bit. Damn. It sounds like it sucks, right? And we just talked about a few of them. Frozen shoulder. Frozen shoulder. Also, beating the dead horse here. Loss of estrogen. But estrogen, moisture in the skin, it's a natural lubricant in the body. So when she loses it, her joints that were all coated, they get inflamed, they get dry, they get locked up. Frozen shoulder, and it's hip too. It's not just the shoulder, and it's not just one shoulder, it can actually be both. But frozen shoulder is not a joke. It's not like, ow, sore. Frozen shoulder is literally excruciating pain. It is excruciating pain. It is severe stiffness, and it can last for years. It goes through 3 phases, by the way. You got the freezing phase. It's a little bit less than a year. You got your frozen phase, which is 1 to 2, and then you've got your thawing phase, which is another 1 to 2. I think I got that right. I don't know if but it's somewhere in there. Basically, it's about 4 years. And it can come back, and it typically can come back within 10 years. But the point is, there's these 3 phases. They're marked with the first one being excruciatingly painful with stiffness. Second one, the frozen phase, actually a little bit less pain, duller pain, less sharp, but really stiff. And then the thawing phase, things start to subside. You do realize that these all can happen simultaneously, right? This isn't just a buffet of things that she just decides to grab onto when she feels like, getting a new one. Yeah. Let's sum it up. Your shoulders are so stiff and hurt so bad that you can't even strap your bra behind your back. You got your mouth's on fire. Your ears are ringing. Your ears are itchy. You can't stop going to the bathroom. And I'm just going to save the best for last. And I mean that sarcastically because there's nothing good about it. When she loses estrogen, when she loses that lubricant, when she loses that hormone that controls the amount of moisture in her skin, she gets dry vagina. It has been described as literally feeling like you have razor blades in your vagina when she's having sex. That's how women have described. Which women? Halle Berry. Halle Berry on the Oprah Winfrey Show described it verbatim like that. So on top of all of this, on top of everything we've just talked about, sex is painful. It's not just that her libido's declining. That's happening. It's not just like her desire to have sex is declining. That's happening. It's that when she does have it, it's painful. And this is when men, not you, but this is when men jump ship. This is when men jump ship. They're like, my wife's got all these issues and doesn't want to sleep with me. I'm out. And that's really pretty sad. And I do think that can be prevented. Not for all. But I do think that there are men out there that are so confused, that don't understand what's really going on, that don't realize this is out of her control, that they just default to confusion, lack of communication, blaming, judging, and then it's over. 60% of divorces happen between the ages of 40 and 60. That's why you need to know this stuff.